Hey everybody, welcome to the Friday Follies. I'm Craig Folly, Craig Folly Show on Deadline Detroit. We're live at the Buell Bar in downtown Detroit. Thank you very much for joining us on this wonderful Friday here. Kind of chilly out there, but it's been a weird kind of week. The potholes destroying my vehicle as we speak. I've been seeing this. My drive down here today was pretty rough on Jefferson Avenue, but hey, that's what happens. My guest today for the Friday Follies, my friend Nancy Derringer from Deadline Detroit. Yep. Thank you for being here once again. Appreciate it.
Always good.
I gave you a couple of week break.
Thank
you. I had to have you back. I appreciate it.
I took some time off, so okay.
And joining us for the first time on the Friday Follies is my friend Nick Rowley, who of course is an actor. He is an event planner. Also, he is a designer of undersea landscapes over at the aquarium on Belle Isle, and also a man who literally sees the world through rose-colored glasses.
I do.
Nick, thank you very much for being here. I'm glad
that is not my problem. So good for the balance, you know.
That's exactly right. Well. Apparently, we should not be looking at the world through rose-colored glasses because Donald Trump just told us a couple of minutes ago that we're in the state of crisis, a national emergency. The situation at the border apparently is so dangerous that we now have to basically see if we can't trash the Constitution a little bit and create this crisis out of nowhere and move forward. And of course, his response to this, as he signs this executive order in the office, he's immediately getting on a plane and going to Florida to play some golf.
Right.
Because that's what you do in a crisis.
Why wouldn't you? I mean,
if this is a crisis that needs to be managed right now, I hardly think Mar-a-Lago is the place to do it from.
Well,
unless
I don't
they're
know,
going to build a fence around Florida.
Yeah, they could probably do that. They've got, I'm sure they
Can we? Could we?
Can we build a fence on the Florida border?
that would
to keep us from going down there too, which would be kind of nice.
There's beautiful beaches in Mobile Bay, Alabama. So all you snowbirds,
there you
can
go.
or you can climb over it. So whatever.
Ooh, that's true.
You're right.
True.
And did you hear? I saw you were watching the live stream.
I was watching.
It was appalling.
I have a responsibility to do these things.
It was amazing and appalling.
You're a saint because.
Well, Nick, you were here watching with me, and we were both
saying,
what is he talking about? We weren't
Stand
sure.
up. Stand up. Your
Stand
husband
up.
just killed.
Hey.
Just killed. Husband.
You just bereaved now.
Just killed in Maryland. Just killed.
Round of
Angel
applause,
moms,
everyone.
Angel
Round of
dads.
applause.
Right, exactly. I know.
Good bereavement.
That's
Good
not,
widow.
That's not a funny thing at all. If
It isn't
indeed
funny.
Was.
Of course
but,
not.
I mean, using these anecdotal,
Why are they
situations.
letting him do this without a prompter? It's this word salad. I mean, he could have declared a national emergency in some other country for all I know.
Absolutely, and
Yes.
I'm not even sure he declared anything. It's
but
just
look
a
at the
labyrinth.
deal. The most important thing about this, he did talk about how this is going to go to the Supreme Court, and hopefully they'll get a fair shake. He said they'll hopefully get a fair shake in the Supreme Court on this. He's anticipating
Was
this.
that during the sing-song portion of his speech?
Exactly,
Right.
to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to figure out the strategy here, because if this really was a national emergency, you wouldn't have the Democrats getting ready to file a lawsuit against this, because this is a challenge to the constitutionality
Yes, it is.
of that act. Creating a fake emergency so that you can then declare an emergency. I mean, this is right out of Bob Roberts.
Right.
It is right out of Bob Roberts, and when somewhere down the road, when President Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez declares an emergency to grant national health care.
Oh, I've got some things to say about her in a couple
I know, I'm
minutes.
sure you do, but I mean, my point is, this is a sword with two edges, and if you're going to use it, you better be prepared for the blowback, and the blowback could be nasty. So.
Well, and the thing is, though, but look at the deal he actually got here, right?
Yeah,
He got less than originally was on the table for border security.
Right.
He got pummeled on this deal, and of course, he's not going to shut down the government again because that was a bad idea the first time.
Right.
That didn't work out so well.
Couldn't get that through, I think.
And
maybe.
so, you've now got a situation where Mitch McConnell basically just said, "Look, you're not going to get this."
Yeah, and a normal lawmaker, president, would accept defeat, and come back with a compromise.
Well,
I mean, this is what this guy who
Make
sold
a better
himself.
case for- make a better
This guy
case for it.
sold
Normal.
himself to the public as a master negotiator and deal maker. All right, and apparently the way he makes deals is you walk in the door and you pound on the table and you say, "This is what I want," and when you don't get it, you say bye bye and you walk out. I mean, that's not deal making. That's not negotiating.
Yeah, and not washing your hands
I think I said
after
that the last
peeing.
time I
That's
was on
another
this
thing
show,
in
yeah.
his book. Which I think we'll get onto at some point. So.
Well, again, what really irks me about this, though, is the fact that he's going to Mar-a-Lago this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because, again, you're trying to make this case that we're being invaded by gangs and drugs. right? When, like the mayor of El Paso is like, hey, this isn't happening here.
Yep.
The mayors in like places like Nogales are saying the same thing, and they're like, look, it's not
that
not
bad.
that bad.
It's really not that serious.
I mean,
not that issue.
I don't know how many, not millions, but certainly thousands of people commute to work back and forth across that border every single day.
Yeah.
I'm not buying the emergency either.
Well,
I've seen them. You walk, in all of these towns, you park on the American side and you walk across the border, right? And you see these people coming through. Mexican, American, showing their regular ID. All the customs people know them. It's like commuting to Windsor. Same thing. So.
Well, we'll see what happens with
Yeah.
this. I have a feeling it's going to be tied up in court, so it's going to be a couple of months probably before we actually deal with the emergency.
The emergency, of course, yeah.
And the part
Stand up.
the part that bothers
Just
me
kill.
too.
Just kill.
Another part that bothers me is this notion that, well, I didn't get what I wanted. Congress is actually in control of the purse
Right.
strings.
Right.
That's
They
in
said,
the
here's how much
Constitution.
money you have, and he said, well, I'm going to take money that was already earmarked for something else and just use it to do what I want to do.
Right.
That's not the way this works.
No.
I mean, it seems like this guy every day is ticked off that he doesn't have dictatorial powers. And he's just like coming to realize that being president maybe isn't all he thought it was.
Not that
Yeah.
fun.
It's not all it's cracked up to be.
just not
Yeah.
that fun.
No.
Well, it is fun though when you're president and you get to put a $50,000 golf simulator in your house.
Yeah.
Barack Obama had one too. He just
Yeah.
upgraded to a better model. And I
Yeah.
saw this thing and, hey, look, executive time. That's what you do. It used to be executive time would be a guy with a glass of scotch
Right.
putting into a glass on the floor with his
Right.
putter,
Yeah.
Now apparently it's full-blown golf simulators in your office. I want one of those things.
a
I saw it.
whole
I was just
universe.
like, when I hit the lotto, I'm buying one of those because like I said, I'll never leave my house. I'll just play fake, golf courses all day.
Nick and I
do not understand. Honestly, people, I don't understand man. I don't, because
I
I hear
understand
it.
men.
This doesn't. I'm like,
It's not men, it's golf. It's
Yeah,
not,
but it's
a
like-
lot of women play
Some
golf
people call
too.
it golf.
But I'm just not a golf fan. I grew up in a golfing community, and its appeal always escaped me.
See, I love the game. I love playing it. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
this guy's played what, 70, 80 rounds since he's been president of the United States. I played 3 rounds last year. And I was like, well, that was a lot of golf, For me.
Yeah,
I mean, I would play every day if I could, but you can't. I mean,
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
of us actually have stuff to do.
sure.
right.
You'd think if you're the president of the United States, and every president gets criticized for playing golf. They all do.
Yeah.
Depends.
Why are you playing golf when X is happening?
Exactly.
yeah,
Right.
Exactly. I mean, but really, if we are in a state of war, a state of national emergency, I didn't see George Bush going to play golf after 9/11. That was
No.
a true
That was a true
emergency state,
No.
right?
Yeah.
That's
I
one
mean,
of those
no one,
situations
no one
where this
could have
is
been
where this is
moving
warranted.
brush around.
Yeah.
Well, but you can think a lot when you're moving brush.
That's
Right.
true.
Right?
That's
You
true.
got to do that kind
I
of
don't
stuff.
begrudge any president some time off. It's a very stressful
Yeah.
job, but he has been all about the
But
time
he
off.
apparently has executive time, which
Executive
sounds a
time.
lot like time off every single day.
Pretty
He
much.
doesn't even come down to his office till about 11. Now
Yeah.
he claims
Which-
he's working in that time. He's talking on the phone. I can see him with like a Bluetooth in his ear, working on his drive on the golf simulator. Calling his buddies, saying, "How am I doing?"
Well, he claims he's never once used the golf simulator.
Oh,
to which I'm saying,
right.
well, that's just a waste of $50,000.
why
do you
have
I mean, it's his money, but why would you have it if you're not going to use it?
Does the White House? I mean, every president's allowed to remake the White House the way
course.
he wants. I mean,
There's a bowling alley there for
is the swimming pool
reasons.
still open? They used to have a swimming pool there.
I'm sure
There
it
has
is.
to
Okay.
be.
Well,
I'm
I know
sure it is.
at one point I thought they had like covered it with.
Well, you remember
something.
Barack Obama got a lot of heat for turning the tennis court into a basketball court.
Right. Yeah.
Because they're like, well,
That's
this
so
is
black.
How
Take this
dare
to the
he?
White House.
Yeah. Right. Oh my
Dare he
God.
not play tennis.
But it still worked as a tennis court. He just put hoops on either end, so you
Right.
could use it for both, and it was like, it's kind of
Yeah.
a cool thing. I've seen a lot of people do this.
This
Yes.
is
tennis
Tan
courts.
Happens all the
Gate
time.
all over again.
All right, so okay, one more thing about Donald Trump because this was great. Somebody asked him if he's going to get a dog because presidents typically have dogs in the White House, and
Or
maybe
a
it makes
pet
him look a
of
little
some
human.
sort,
A pet
yeah.
of some kind. Socks the cat.
Yeah.
Then of course you had Bo, the dog, and the Bushes had dogs.
Yeah.
And so everybody's had. Nixon had a golden retriever, if I'm not mistaken.
What is Melania going to write her book about if they don't have a pet? The goldfish in in Barron's room are not going to hold up a narrative. But
Just
anyway,
like
go ahead.
through Melania's
clearly improved
eyes,
otherwise.
it's like
Real-
this
oh.
much
Bars of a goldfish,
of
so
All right,
he
okay.
can do that. But it's already been done.
It's been done, so
you
yeah,
know.
right.
But he said, no, I don't want to get a dog because that would seem kind of phony.
Oh, okay.
And I was
So,
thinking, if
normal
there's anybody,
people love dogs.
doesn't he want something to kick?
Yeah.
You think that he might want something like that? He seems like
I
the type of
don't know,
dude
some
that would
big
kick a dog. I don't know.
carrion-eating bird,
Well,
a hyena,
Well,
something.
we've seen how he acts with eagles. Remember that one
His
too.
wife
I want
is
that. I want that every time it turns up. I want to see the eagle try to peck out his liver.
his wife is a caricature of, like, you know, the Upper East Side rich lady, you know, who carries a $25,000 bag with a tiny little fluffy head sticking out of it. you know?
Right.
So I'm
Or-
surprised that he hasn't gone for that. But
Or we could just go for
He's
a
also a
full-on remake
germaphobe.
of Green Acres.
Ooh.
here we go. She's got the accent.
Perfect.
there.
We have the
So,
accent.
by
we
this
have
time
the-
next week, Nick, I want lyrics to a new Green Acres
All
theme
right.
song.
Okay.
That is your challenge for the week.
I will work
is to come
on
up with
that.
some new words.
Anywhere
and then
else
really make a
is
video
where
out of
I'd
it if we
rather
can.
stay.
We could make an impromptu music video. for this.
Exactly.
Zsa Zsa here. Was that Ava Gabor? Or
No,
Zsa Zsa?
It was Ava.
Ava.
It was
Thank
Ava.
you. Thank you. And
Right.
Eddie Arnold and
Yeah.
a couple other characters.
Oh
Yeah.
my
You never
god.
liked Green Acres.
Oh my god, this
Hate
is perfect.
All
right, we are off the rails now. All right, Paul Manafort. Boy, that dude's in some trouble.
Oh, yeah.
His cooperation deal has been revoked because
Yep.
apparently he lied about a lot of different things, including meetings with, shock of shocks, Russians.
No.
But Craig, he's very depressed and he has gout. You know, and I would think a prison diet would be perfect for dealing with gout. Gout is, of course, it's a buildup of, I believe it's uric acid in,
Yep.
in the extremities, and it's supposedly like it's the Diamond Jim Brady kind of disease. It's for people who live high and eat well and rich foods and all
it's
that
what
stuff. So I would
Henry
think, you know,
VIII had gout.
yeah, exactly. It's like put him on, get him his allopurinol or whatever the drug is, and put him on a nice kind of, you know, macaroni and cheese in prison diet with the powdered cheese.
Ain't nothing,
get
like,
that
ain't
clear
nothing
right
like Nutriloaf for really
Neutral-
clearing
yeah,
that up.
or the loaf. Yeah, that's a good one. The nutritional loaf. Yeah,
Ugh,
but he's
yeah.
very depressed. I mean, he had to give up all of his ostrich skin jackets and, you know, his
Those
chalk
are
stripe
nice.
suits and all the rest of that crap. So
Well, too
you know,
bad. Too
Paul
bad.
Manafort.
Paul
Yeah.
Manafort.
See you later, buddy. Yeah.
Let's move local here for just a little bit because Fox 2 is getting in a little trouble. We had the State of the State
Rightly
address.
so.
We had the State of the State address this week, and Gretchen Whitmer showed up wearing a dress, and there was
Has
apparently
she
some
no
people that were
shame?
commenting on this. And Fox 2, what they suggested they were trying to do is talk about the double standard that women in politics face, because
Right.
there's a lot of discussion about how they look.
Right.
Jennifer Granholm got grief for her pantsuits. Hillary Clinton, the same thing.
Right.
If she looks frumpy one day, they would comment on it, or this
Right.
dress isn't flattering, whatever. But Fox 2 seems like they had to search for
Oh, they
some of
went
these,
to-
you know,
they
eighth,
went
eighth
Oh,
grade
yeah,
boy
they very
comments that they
clearly
found.
did a search term of Whitmer-rack.
Yeah, they committed.
thing.
They definitely committed.
They went all in for that
Yeah.
one, and
Yeah.
and I like the fact that Whitmer responded pretty quickly and just said, you know, I've been putting up with this stuff forever,
fifth grade.
since the fifth grade,
Yeah.
and Fox 2's right. There is a double standard. We've seen it there for a long time,
But it's not news, okay? And every time you bring it up, it becomes
Yeah.
more deeply rooted. I mean, I think this is one case. I mean, the fact that men are horrible to women on the internet is a fact as old as the internet.
Right.
And so why? I mean, was this necessary? Yes, you're right. Jennifer Granholm, very pretty woman. You know, they called her. She has these subcutaneous moles on her face, you know, so that was a big thing.
Oh,
with
yeah, they call her grand mole
Yeah,
and
and
stuff
it's like,
like
yeah,
that.
grand mole, and you know, Hillary Clinton's got a big butt and all this other stuff, and it's like, shut up, just shut up. You know, have you seen the president's butt lately? I mean, you know, when it's
I haven't
when
been
it's-
looking.
Try to avoid.
I try
try
not to
to
look.
avoid that.
when
to
his
be honest.
double-breasted or when his double-vented suit coat blows up in the helicopter backwash, that he's packing a couple of basketballs back there. I mean, you know.
But he's the fittest president in the history of
Oh
mankind.
yeah, in the
Well,
history of the
don't
world.
control.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
gonna live. He's gonna live forever.
He
according
could live
to
till
his
he's
doctor.
200.
It's like,
Yeah, I
according to his
give me a
doctor.
I
break.
can't shake the feeling that like this whole declaration is really about that obesity diagnosis. Because it is, you know, does this constitutional crisis make my ass look big? I mean, it's like,
All right, so Fox 2,
Yeah.
They're-
And
they're
they've
sticking
gone
to their guns.
and they have dug in on this one. I mean, I think it would be much more graceful to take the L and just let it go, but they're trying to claim that they're standing up for truth, justice, and the American way, and this terrible situation.
Oh, it's terrible
how women are treated.
How they're treated. By the way, look at this picture. And
Yeah,
this picture.
right. And this guy said
look at this.
And this guy said he'd hit that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, thank you
thanks for that insight.
Yeah. Right.
Appreciate that. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, the
Isn't
8th grade
it
boys chimed in.
terrible?
Yeah, of
That's
course they
exactly
did.
it.
Oh, and you know what?
But the 8th grade boys are actually 42-year-old dudes sitting in their parents' basement. So,
when I
way to go,
watched-
guys. Nice freaking job.
I watched that piece and I hit pause a couple times and Googled the names because they're all from Facebook. And let me just say, I think you're absolutely dead on. There were definitely a few lumpy losers in there, but anyway.
Well,
Oh,
you
well.
know. Hey, by the way, just to let folks know, these are props. It is actually iced tea. We wanted it to look to be official.
We wanted
but
it to look like a bar.
It's 11 something in the morning.
Yeah.
Nobody's drinking at this
Nobody
point in
is.
time. But it
Sun's
does look. It
over the
looks like it.
yard
It
does.
does look
somewhere.
good, yeah. It looks
Thanks
very
to the
Rat
Blue Bar
Pack.
for the use of the glasses.
Very
I
Rat
appreciate
Pack.
it.
Yeah. So I feel like Bill Murray and.
All right. Well, while we're on the topic of vices, Hawaii. Hawaii's got some of the most restrictive smoking laws in the nation. And there's one lawmaker who really, really hates smoking. He's introduced a bill to increase the minimum age to buying cigarettes to 100 years of age. Which
So great.
So that's like the victory lap. You make it to 100, it's like, you know what? Give me a pack of Reds, honey.
Give me that cotton.
I finally made it.
going out.
I'm legal now. You got to go to the 7-Eleven. Show your ID. You're only 99, dude. Sorry.
Yeah.
What I'm
Sorry.
loving is the idea that there's going to be a whole bunch of octogenarians just waiting on the side of the road looking for someone older. Hey, mister.
Can you buy me a pack of smokes?
Could you buy us a pack of cigarettes?
It's like, you have people like trying to look older than they are. Like, better get the rascal out today.
Yeah, right.
Take that into the 7-Eleven. See if I can get a pack of Marlboros. No, I mean, Hawaii, they're serious. They're talking about outlawing smoking altogether. Now, I don't know how this would work.
I don't either.
It would be really, really difficult to enforce, but the concept is hilarious. I mean, it's like, look, you make it to 100, you can do whatever the hell you want.
Absolutely. So then,
I mean, if you're going to do that, they might as well make everything legal at that.
Right, at
Right.
that point you might as well, meth too.
Yeah.
Could you imagine some 101-year-old lady high on meth walking around on a rascal scooter? It's going to be kind of
Centenarian
fun.
market. Yeah, exactly. It's a big one.
But I thought that was
Untapped.
kind of funny.
It is funny.
All right, Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri.
Yeah.
He's got some problems. The Free Press actually called for him to step down over the fact that his family was buying properties from the foreclosure auction, which he oversees.
Yep.
That is one of his roles as the county treasurer.
Yep.
They bought a bunch of properties, didn't pay taxes on those properties, and in fact, one of the things they found out was that they didn't pay the taxes on the properties till after the reporter from the Detroit News
Yeah.
called him up and asked him about it.
Right.
Then, in an effort to sort of soft pedal the story and maybe make the blow a little bit worse, he leaks this stuff to the Free Press,
Right.
which then runs a story. The Detroit News then runs theirs immediately, which has a lot more detail. The Free immediately updates theirs to get some of the details that they didn't have from Eric Sabri himself,
Yeah.
which made it worse.
It was not what you would call, A1 media relations.
No, I've done media relations. There are
And
ways to do this and
then-
ways not to do this.
For him to then tell the Free Press, not the news, the Free Press, yes, it's against the rules of the office, but I'm looking into having the rules change so it's no longer against the rules.
Oh, that's so much better. Good work.
And that was the whole thing, yeah. Like, well, we want to keep doing this because my wife's making money. And I'm sorry, I was married for a long time.
Yeah.
My wife and I knew exactly what was going on with the other's finances. I mean, we had it all together. It wasn't like, it's at arm's length. I have no idea what you're up to. I have no idea how much money you're stocking away, doing whatever.
I mean, I think if you love and trust someone, you can just let them get away with whatever.
Well, and the thing is, there's
ethical problems.
There's some serious ethical
Enormous
problems.
ethical problems
And the
there.
thing is, anything that undermines people's faith in the process is what you're trying to avoid with rules like that. That's why it's there, so people don't think you're gaming the system. And if you can't see that, and you can't see that that might be a problem, then maybe you're not fit for that gig. And it's something that you've got to either, I said it in my podcast the other day, I said, get rid of the properties or take a different job.
Yeah.
You can't do both. And changing the rules is a bad look. It's just a bad look. And my favorite part about this is that he said that at the time that they bought the properties, the first properties, the rule was not in place. And Ray Vojtovich, the former treasurer, said, yeah, I don't remember that. So I was like, okay, nice push under the bus, Mr. Vojtovich. He's like, don't get me mixed up in this. I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
I know. No, and common sense would tell you can't do that because as I understand, the treasurer has enormous personal power in that auction to
Take properties
to
out,
take properties
including one
out.
that his wife owned,
Right, exactly. To
which
take
should have gone
properties
into
out,
the foreclosure
to say,
auction.
Yeah, to
It
say,
was
and
commercial property on land
Right.
only.
precisely, and to grant these special little favors. You hope that he will grant them, for an honorable reason. But if you're doing it to essentially help your family business make more money, that third grader could see the problem
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, that was, look, we had a rule when I worked at the land bank. Land bank employees couldn't buy property from the land bank.
Right.
And we found a law to back up that position. I mean, some of the employees might not have been that happy about it, but it's just like, look, the appearance that somehow you might be getting a deal or something that somebody else doesn't get does not fly.
Yeah.
It just doesn't fly. And we knew that, and we found rules to basically uphold our position, and we stuck to it. And that's what they need to do. And it's look, take a different job. If you want to start buying properties from the county auction, don't work for the county treasurer.
Right.
Period.
Precisely.
Simple as that.
Makes sense.
Not hard.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
All
All
right.
right. Let's get to some of the weird stories that I saw, because we've got about 10 minutes left here. This one was great. There's some complaints at a college campus in Maryland, Towson University. Police said students reported that a woman went into 2 campus buildings, apparently trying to find a date for her son. And I'm sorry, I'm like, kid, you got mom issues if that's the place. This is like throw mama from the train time here.
Yeah.
Mom's going around trying to troll for dates for you.
This is
Dude, get some game or something.
helicopter
Yeah.
parenting
Exactly.
achievement unlocked.
He's a nice boy.
He's such a nice boy.
He's a lovely man.
He studies so hard he doesn't have time to mix and mingle at these freshman things.
You'll like him.
I think you'll absolutely love my boy.
Well, but she has pictures of him on her cell phone. She's like, this is my son. Would you like to go out on a date with him? And this girl's like, that's not creepy at all. Because
Yeah.
I think the first answer would be like, oh, hell no. If
Yeah.
your mom's out there trying to get you dates. Because that's one thing that every relationship you have to figure out is that relationship with the mother-in-law
Yeah.
on both sides. Would that be a red flag for you, Nancy?
Yes, it would be. Yes, I don't think we even have to think about that.
This isn't just Sunday dinners, right?
No.
This isn't like coming over to dinner
No.
every Sunday with a family or something. This is
No.
something a little bit more intrusive.
This is a mother who is going to want to name your child.
Yes.
And
and
that's
she's probably
hard.
still sewing his name into his underwear for him.
Oh, no doubt,
And packing
yeah.
his lunches and all that good
he
stuff.
probably has those mittens with the strings.
Yeah.
Because he loses things.
But I saw that story. I was like, first of all, you're not helping, Mom.
Yeah.
You're not helping at all.
Do we know the mother's name?
They did not put it out there because.
Okay.
Oh wait, let's see. They've got security camera images and they're attempting to identify her. They have not
Okay.
figured out who it is
Got
yet.
it. All right.
But anyway, so
I wonder if
I
it was a
just keep
cultural
hearing-
thing. I don't know.
I just keep hearing Chris Farley as Newt Gingrich going, Mom!
that's about it. I thought this was interesting. This was a guy in Colorado. He owns a sporting goods store, and he thought he would take a stand against Colin Kaepernick and Nike. He didn't like the fact that Nike signed this deal with Colin Kaepernick.
Right.
So he's like, I'm going to boycott Nike in my store. We're not going to do this anymore. Now the store is going out of business because the guy realized that taking Nike products out of your store is probably a bad idea
It
if you
really
run a
is a bad
sporting
idea.
goods store, especially
Exactly.
sporting goods apparel, because Nike makes almost everything.
Yes.
I know.
They have proprietary rights to all the jerseys that every kid wants.
Right.
And every adult who likes sports wants. And so the store is closing. He's like, yeah, I might have made a
So they
big
got
mistake.
some elderly Trump voters who want to buy Skechers for their mall walking.
Yeah.
But other than that, the rest of it just kind of went right in the toilet.
New Balance, man. New Balance.
I know.
I mean, but it's so the people's take on this Kaepernick thing is just so off the charts stupid.
I still don't get it. I mean, he has said
How
all
dare an American
along-
exercise his rights?
Well, first of all, who decided that playing the national anthem before a sporting event was about the military? Okay, who decided that?
Oh, the NFL. They did that on purpose.
I know they did it on
They-
purpose, but
but
my,
they-
my
They were
point is,
going for the Lee Greenwood crowd.
when
That's-
I am standing up at Comerica Park, and singing the national anthem before a baseball game, I'm not thinking about the military. It's just a nice gesture, right?
Right.
So suddenly and this guy, all he has said is, this is not about disrespecting the military. It's about calling attention to a pervasive problem for African Americans and particularly our children. And anybody who would deny that is simply not paying attention. So I've never understood it, but don't ask me. I can't afford Lions tickets. So.
Understood. But I just thought, all right, dude, you asked for it and you got it.
I just,
so there
I
you go.
love all of these conservative boycotts because they don't really quite understand what a boycott is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay, you do that. That's
you.
gonna work.
Yeah, I'm taking on Phil Knight.
Yeah.
And you lost. Oh, speaking of billionaires.
Yeah.
Amazon. Jeff Bezos.
Ooh, are we
Amazon,
talking about the
we're
pictures,
getting-
or are we talking about Queen saying no?
Well,
talking-
it's
we're talking about
dickish
Queen.
stuff
Okay.
And
all around.
Ocasio-Cortez sitting there gloating over this fact, saying, well, we could spend that money on something else, to which I keep responding to people, that money doesn't exist until they start paying the taxes and bring the jobs to the community.
But
It's not
they
like they have
don't
$3 billion
pay
sitting in a pot.
taxes.
They just turned down 25,000 jobs that were going to bring in a lot of revenue. And yes, I understand. There needs to be a robust debate about the arms war
Yes.
that we're in when it comes to incentives right now. That's
Yeah.
a legitimate conversation.
Yeah.
But people think that they were just giving them cash. They weren't doing that. And Ocasio-Cortez, I'm sorry, media, stop paying attention to her. She's a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
She's a freshman. She needs to learn some things about economics, basic economics here. I'm not
See how
a
that
huge fan
works.
of incentives.
Let's see how that works.
But she's out there gloating, saying, we just turned around 25,000 jobs. And
I know, and she's, but that's not going to work any more than the people who said stop running CNN, stop running Trump rallies in 2016. You know, with an open mic and endless whatever. It's just, I mean, she attracts reporters,
Yeah.
and people are going to keep paying attention to her. But you're right. I mean, there's a math problem here that most people don't understand. It's not like New York State had $3 billion sitting around that they were just going to hand them.
They're like, what
But
are we
there are
gonna
other
spend this
issues. There are
on?
many other issues that we should be talking about.
totally agree.
And whether or not taxpayer money is the place for these kinds of things. How much money does
But it isn't
Amazon
taxpayer
make?
money. It's taxpayer money that is not going to come in. They're still going to be paying some taxes. They're just getting a break on how much tax they would pay.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, they're getting this incentive, this
Well,
billions
I
of
just
dollars in
read somewhere
incentives.
that they're paying zero corporate income tax. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
So I mean,
that's
is
possible.
that fair?
No, that's
no.
not. But like I said, these states
Then
are
let's have
basically
this
jumping all
discussion.
over each other
I know.
to get this kind of stuff.
Yes.
There needs to be a discussion about whether or not this is healthy for anybody. But at
Exactly.
the same time,
It's
you know,
welfare.
don't gloat about it because they're like worried about gentrification. Like, hello, this is New York.
Right.
It's already gentrified.
Gentrification central.
Yeah.
And
I was just there.
and so it's already there, and it's already expensive. But the mayor and the governor signed off on this deal. They thought it was a good deal, and then of course you now have people sitting there. We don't want it, and I see these same arguments in Detroit all the time. Don't make my neighborhood too nice because it's going to get expensive. I'm like, well, we need to see some investment. We need to see this, and we're not at a point where everybody's knocking on the door to come in here. We still have to offer some incentives.
Can't you
to
also
attract
say,
people.
though, that Amazon needs to buck up a little bit? I mean, not only do these businesses, these corporations, ask for insane amounts of, like you said, tax kickbacks and credits and all this other stuff, but then they all turn to these little butterflies when they're criticized for it. If they actually believe that they're bringing that much prosperity to New York City with this thing, then let them make a stronger case for it. It's like, oh my gosh, that lady in the that pretty lady in the red lipstick is saying mean things about me. It's like Bezos basically was on top of the world a week ago and is now,
Yeah, well,
fallen
he's
off
still
of
on
that.
top of the world because he's like richest
Well,
guy
yeah, he's
in
the
the world.
richest guy in the world. but
And even
still.
after his divorce goes through and he gives away half of everything, he's still
He's
going to
still
be one
gonna
of the
be-
Still
richest
gonna be
people in
one
the
of the
world.
richest guys in the world.
So, I'm
Yeah.
not too worried about
Yeah.
him.
He'll
With
be
the dick pics.
okay.
Yeah.
He'll be-
And everybody's
he'll
going,
be
I gotta
okay.
like that guy. Oh, cool, that's on sale. It's going to get delivered to your house by a drone pretty soon, so you'll get it. All
know.
right, so let's end with this.
Okay.
Pete Hegseth, who's a host on Fox and Friends Sunday, he was joking. I want to put this
That
out
was so
there.
clear that he was joking.
Exactly, but it was just kind of gross.
It was.
nonetheless, when
He
said
talked about, I haven't washed
my
I
hands
can't,
in
I
20
can't
years.
see germs, so therefore they're not real, so I never wash my hands. I
Yeah.
haven't washed my hands in 10 years. And people freaked out on social media like, oh my God. I'm like, the dude's joking.
I know. It was so clear that he
Right,
was,
but
it
I-
is
but-
joking if you watched it.
Yeah, but see,
And the fact is, he was actually kind of mocking the anti-science people a little bit, too. I can't see the germs, therefore they're not real.
Right.
This should apply to all Fox News takes on science from now on. Pete Hegseth gets to make jokes about climate change and everything else. It should be the way
Well,
it
their
is.
former president's wife, Bill Shine's wife, I think her name was Darla or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We did want to get into this news
She
last time.
she said that she regretted ever vaccinating her children against measles because she thought that measles would give them immunity to cancer. So
Wow.
yeah.
Well, so that's the cure.
yeah.
So we all get the
exactly.
measles,
Get the
nobody gonna get
measles,
cancer?
and now we won't get cancer.
Well,
Exactly.
there you go. Now you
I
have it.
mean, we have the vaccinations and we have cancer. I mean, it's a pretty simple thing.
Right.
There.
All right. Well, we're going to have to wrap up the Friday Follies for today. Nancy Derringer, thank you very much for being with
Always
me.
fun
Nick
to be here.
Rowley, thank you for being here as
Lovely.
well. And hey, quick shout out to a regular guest on this program. ML Elric is taking part in something that I wanted to let you know about. Clark Park in Southwest Detroit, they're having their winter carnival running from noon to 4 p.m. on Sunday. It's going to be a charity hockey game that ML's taking part in. And it's a lot of really cool stuff, sledding and all sorts of other neat stuff. Clark Park, if you have not been there in the winter, is great. There's an amazing rink over there. And
It is.
and they've done wonderful things with Clark Park. A great park there. There's going to be a petting zoo and a bunch of stuff for the kids. So if you're looking for something to do, the Clark Park Winter Carnival. It's free, noon to 4 on Sunday. I told ML I'd give a little shout out to that today. So have fun and don't hurt yourself playing hockey out there, buddy. It's a dangerous sport, man. So be careful. And you're getting old, so
He's
just
on TV
know.
too. Yeah,
Yeah, he is.
That gap tooth look wouldn't work for him.
Well, Fox 2 would probably spring for the implants, I'm
Yeah,
guessing,
they
if
probably
he
would, right?
loses them. But either way. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you had a great time. Again, thanks to Michael Lucido for engineering the broadcast today. Thanks to the folks at the Buell Bar for letting us use this space. Thanks to my friends at whatever this tea company is for giving us props today. We had a great time. Thanks for being here. We'll talk again on Monday. Look for the Craig Folly Show on Deadline Detroit, anywhere you find podcasts, but you can, of course, find it at deadlinedetroit.com, a great place to go to get all your news anyway. So check it out. We'll have a great weekend, and we hope you do too. See you then.